The house was finally quiet. That deep, satisfying silence that only new parents truly appreciate. We'd just put our little Leo down for the night, and my wife, Sarah, and I collapsed onto the sofa. We were exhausted but happy. The new baby monitor, our little high-tech guardian angel, sat on the coffee table between us. Its screen showed Leo, a tiny, perfect bundle, fast asleep in his crib. We bought the best one we could find. Crystal clear picture, night vision, two-way, audio TherWorks. It was all for peace of mind, a digital window into his world to make sure he was safe. For the first hour, everything was perfect. We watched him, his little chest rising and falling in a steady rhythm. The soft glow of the monitor was a comfort, a testament to modern technology keeping our son secure. We were half watching some mindless show on TV when the monitor screen flickered. It was subtle, just a brief flash, but it caught my eye. Sarah was scrolling on her phone and didn't notice. I picked up the parent unit. Leo was still sound asleep, exactly as he was before. I figured it was just a bit of interference, maybe from the Wi-Fi or a neighbor's device. I put it back down, my attention returning to the TV. A few minutes later, it happened again. This time, the screen didn't just flicker. It went dark for a second before the image returned. Still, Leo hadn't moved a muscle. An uneasy feeling started to prickle at the back of my neck. I muted the television. "Did you see that?" I asked Sarah. She looked up from her phone. "See what?" "The monitor. It's acting weird, as if on cue." The screen flickered again, more intensely this time. The image distorted, stretching and then snapping back into focus. Sarah leaned forward, her brow furrowed. "That's strange. Is the battery low?" I checked. Full bars. The connection signal was strong, too. We both stared at the small screen, the silence in the room now feeling heavy, expectant. The image of Leo's room was clear, bathed in the eerie green-gray of the night vision. The crib, the rocking chair in the corner, the mobile with its dangling animal shapes. Everything was exactly where it should be. And yet the air felt charged. The monitor was supposed to bring us comfort, but now it was becoming a source of anxiety. Every pixel seemed to hold a sinister potential. The image held steady for a long time, long enough for us to start relaxing again. I let out a breath I didn't realize I'd been holding. "Probably just a glitch," Sarah murmured, though she didn't sound convinced. Then the monitor activated again. But this time, there was no sound. No cry, no whimper from Leo. The screen just lit up, brighter than before, and the image had changed. At first, it was hard to make out. The night vision quality made everything look grainy and distorted. But as we squinted, a shape began to resolve itself. It was a face. It was hovering directly over the crib, looking down. My blood ran cold. It wasn't Leo. This face was large, pale, and indistinct, like a smeared watercolor painting. It had dark, hollow-looking sockets where eyes should be, and a faint, downturned line for a mouth. It was just there, floating in the darkness of our son's room. "What is that?" Sarah whispered, her voice trembling. She grabbed my arm, her nails digging into my skin. I couldn't answer. I couldn't tear my eyes away from the screen. The face was unnervingly still. It wasn't a person. A person would move, breathe. This was like a mask suspended in midair. It had no discernible features, no hair, no ears, just the vague, terrifying impression of a human face. A wave of pure, primal fear washed over me. My heart was hammering against my ribs so hard I could feel it in my throat. Is someone in the house? Is someone in his room? The thought was a bolt of lightning through my paralysis. Before Sarah could even say a word, I was on my feet, sprinting for the stairs. I didn't grab a weapon. I didn't think. I just ran. All I could picture was that horrible blank face hanging over my son. Sarah was right behind me, her panicked breaths echoing my own. We burst into the nursery, flipping on the light switch so fast it felt like we broke it. The room was flooded with the warm, yellow glow of the overhead lamp, and it was completely, utterly empty. The window was locked. The closet door was shut. There was nowhere for anyone to hide. I rushed to the crib. Leo was there, still sound asleep, his little face peaceful and untroubled. He hadn't stirred at all. He was safe. The relief was so intense it almost buckled my knees. I looked at Sarah, her face pale and streaked with tears. We stood there for a moment, just breathing, our minds trying to process what had just happened. The room was just a normal nursery. The cute animal decals on the wall, the stack of storybooks, the soft rug on the floor. There was nothing scary here. It was all so normal. Had we imagined it? A shared hallucination brought on by stress and sleep deprivation. It seemed impossible, but the alternative was even more so. I walked back towards the door, my heart rate slowly returning to normal. Sarah was stroking Leo's back, murmuring to him in his sleep. As I reached the hallway, I glanced back at the baby monitor camera mounted on the wall. It was just a small white plastic dome, an inanimate object. It couldn't have shown us what we saw. It just couldn't have. We went back downstairs, shaken but trying to rationalize. It had to be a technical glitch. Pair a weird signal cross, maybe picking up a feed from another house, or even a still image from a movie somehow bleeding through the frequency. It was the only explanation that made any sense. We sat back on the sofa, but this time we didn't turn on the TV. We just sat in silence, holding the parent unit, watching our son sleep. For a long time, nothing happened. The image remained stable. Leo slept on. Slowly, we started to believe our own rationalizations. It was a glitch, a scary, freakish glitch, but a glitch nonetheless. We were just overtired, new parents on high alert. Our minds were playing tricks on us. I felt foolish for panicking, for bursting into his room like a madman. I looked at Sarah, and I could see the same thoughts reflected in her eyes. We were about to laugh it off, to chalk it up to one of the crazy stories we tell our friends about the joys of parenthood. And then it happened. The face returned. It faded into view on the monitor, slowly, as if emerging from the very shadows of the room. It was clearer this time. The hollow eye sockets seemed deeper, darker, and the line of the mouth, it was changing. Slowly, impossibly, the corners of the mouth began to curl upwards. It was smiling, a wide, silent, horrifying smile. It wasn't a happy smile. It was predatory, malevolent, It was the smile of something that was enjoying our terror. We were frozen, pinned to the sofa by sheer horror. We couldn't scream. We couldn't move. All we could do was stare at that grotesque, smiling face on the screen. A face that was supposedly in the room with our sleeping child. A room we knew was empty. The smile stretched wider and wider, distorting the features of the face into a nightmarish caricature of joy. It was looking right at us, not at Leo, at us, through the camera. It knew we were watching. It was performing for us. The connection between our living room and the nursery no longer felt like a safeguard. It felt like a cursed portal, a window we had willingly opened to let something awful into our lives. And just as the smile reached its peak, a ghastly, silent grin that stretched from edge to edge of the formless head, the screen went black. Not a flicker, not a glitch. It just turned off. The power light on the side of the monitor extinguished, and we were left in the dim light of the living room, in a silence that was now 1,000 times more terrifying than any noise. The monitor was dead.